intake order node, and it's running the ESB service called intake service. If I look at the JBoss ESB XML editor here, here's the intake service, and you can see the intake service has a Groovy step, and it has a Groovy script that actually discovers the message origin. So I use Groovy a lot for the application logic in this case, for mediation logic, because it's so much easier to work with and it's dynamic. So we use Groovy. We didn't do a transformation. So this does a complex transformation of taking that XML document and making POJOs out of it. And the reason it makes POJOs out of it is so we can call our business rule processor and execute the Drools engine. So in this case, the Drools engine is responding to and modifying that inbound ESB message. And you can see right here, it uses the priority rules DRL, and you can see that's part of my project down here. Okay, priority rules.drl. And all it's really doing is simply executing logic that says, if a customer has a status greater than 10, the order amount is greater than 25, right, set the priority of 2. So this priority now drives downstream discount calculations, down process calculations, as well as content-based routing. A high priority order might get routed to the high priority customer service team who can respond to it immediately. Okay? So let's have some fun here. Let's make a modification. And we'll add the ESB service node here. And we're going to add another just plain node here. Okay? So right now the process is pretty single flow. It doesn't branch. So what we want to do is if you review it, you might reject it. And if you reject it, we don't ship it. Right? So if it's approved, obviously we ship it. But if you don't approve it, we reject it. And we send it down a rejection notice. So let's go here and get this guy named correctly. All right, let's go and call him reject. And we're going to call this guy reject. Okay. And then we're going to set up the ESB service. So right here we map to a specific ESB service. If I look at my JBoss ESB XML file, you can see there's a whole bunch of different services out here, the different ones which make this whole application, this demonstration run. But I'm simply going to copy and paste the rejection service name over here. Okay. And if you notice there's a service name and service category, we do everything by category and name, so that's how you uniquely identify a service. So just type that in. And if I did everything else correctly, we'll hit save. And the only other thing I need to do is add a rejection button to that task form. So I'll go to my task form editor. So this is what the task form editor looks like in the current version. And there's the OK button. What I need to do is copy that. All right. And we'll do a reject. We'll make it a reject transition. So this is the transition. That line in the diagram will be selected based on the fact that I typed the number of reject there. We don't have to worry about cleaning that up. And now hit save. And then I can hit deploy from here. So let's hit deploy. And it's going to deploy it up to my server environment. Let's see if we connect fine. Deploy process archive. And if I look back at my browser now, before we had 3 versions of this process. Now we should have 4 versions of this process. So that means we do process versioning. Other process instances which are already in flight and tied to that original version stay with their original version. So that's an important thing to understand, that other processes, in other words, other orders, aren't impacted by this change. New orders are impacted by this change. So if I hit examine here, okay, you can see there's the changes that I made inside the diagram. You can see there's a new reject path now. So let's try this again. Okay, main menu, let's order some angelfish. Order 15 of those. Check out. Continue. Click the button. Okay, order 1031. And if I go back to my JBPM console, process instances, there's 1031 running. All right. And again, the thing that's interesting about that is the Spring application has no notion that I'm listening in with JBPM and Drools and ESB. Right? We hijacked this transaction. We're running off with it now. And if I hit examine here, you can see my process image. Okay? It's basically waiting for me to review the order. I will do that and hit OK. All right. My little monitor down here says again, we have a discount calculator of 14.9. And if I look at my process image, it's now waiting a review discount. If I go to that specific task now, there's a reject button. Okay? And what's interesting, if I click reject, and it's ended. Okay, so let's show you that. You can see it went to the end state. So we were ended, right, based on the fact that we rejected. There's no reason to ship this product anymore. So that's a simple concept of updating the business logic and the process flows. There's some other things that are new in ESB 4.5 I want to show you as well. There's a new console. So this is the embedded console you'll find if you download App Server 5.1 on jboss.org today. And if you download ESB 4.5, the ESB team actually got the console out first, back in, I think it was about January of this year. So you can see what that console looks like. You can actually see statistics around a specific application endpoint. Oh, let me log in again. And so this is a very nice environment for you to kind of come in and look at what's going on your specific node in your environment here. All right, so there's my business rule processor. I have a lot of different examples here. I can see specific statistics, metrics associated with each of these endpoints that are out there. Okay, is it up or down? So it's a pretty nice environment to actually interact with the services that you see, and you can see there's everything out here. There's the any applications, wars and errors which have been deployed, data sources which have been configured, JMS queues, all that's available in this little console right here. And then what else is interesting? I'll show you this. Just to kind of give you one more little demo here. If I push in a message to the system, one of the things that we have out here is another business rule solution. And so business rules are done in a declarative way. So that's an important thing to understand. So if I push in an order to this environment, so it pushes in a JMS order through XML, you can see it actually calculates a discount in this case, 39%, if you see here on the screen. That's actually managed by this decision table. So in other words, my business logic is an Excel spreadsheet. All of that's held in the spreadsheet, so if I want to make a change here, 12.6 and hit save, okay, I'm actually making a change in production by editing a spreadsheet in this environment. So again, you can see right here, 3.4, 12.6, 18.9. It takes a second to recompile the spreadsheet, that's what it's doing right now, and pushing in that specific JMS message. But what it does is allows you to change things dynamically. So we take advantage of the rules engine in a production setting, we take advantage of JVPM, we can make changes to the process flow in a production setting on the fly. And so all these things can happen in a very dynamic way. So if you're doing business or systems integration, you need some form of dynamic capability. We've had customers who specifically changed all the rules, all the logic for routes, process flows, etc. on the fly because they made mistakes before they put in production.